King on a Monday. Okay, Ben McAdoo, I was wrong. I didn't think they'd fire him. Eventually, I knew they were going to. I think, honestly, Peter, they fired him a month ago upstairs, but something led to this. I guess it was the Eli Manning humiliation. Is that why they got rid of him now?
There's no good way to do Eli Manning, but it was done in a very clumsy fashion with miscommunication between John Mara, the big boss, and Ben McAdoo and Jerry Reese. Ben McAdoo and Jerry Reese are non-communicative people, really. They're just not very good communicators. And so therefore, I think this became obvious that it was something they had to do in firing both of them. But Colin, I think the reason why they do it right now, much more than the Eli factor, is the fact that 3 of the last 4 games are at home, starting with Sunday against the Dallas Cowboys. Fans would have protested en masse at that game on Sunday. The no-shows would have been colossal, and those who would have been inside the stadium either would have been A, rooting for the Dallas Cowboys, or B, booing the New York Giants. Wow.
Is there a leader in the clubhouse as a coach?
I don't think so, because, Colin, the way this team usually does things, Wellington Mara started this a long time ago. Let's go back to 1978 when he basically was forced to hire a general manager named George Young. When he began that process, when George Young had to do that, that basically started a process where you hire the general manager first and then you hire the coach. And that's mostly what they've done with George Young, Ernie Accorsi, and Jerry Reese. So I would anticipate the first hire would be a general manager and then the coach.
And finally on this, they're right now at the number 2 spot in the draft. That means there's 2 college quarterbacks available if they both come out. Do you believe Eli's done in New York? Not this year, but done.
No, I don't think he's done. And I think to talk about his future before you know who's going to be the Giants general manager and coach, I think is foolish. Because there's absolutely no way that you can know right now whether the new coach and new general manager are going to want Eli Manning for the next 3 or 4 years, or whether they want to move on and take Baker Mayfield or whoever the case may be at 2, 3, 4 in this draft.
Okay, let's go to Russell Wilson. We watched him last night. I know I keep being lectured and told that it's all about Pete Carroll and this defense, and I'm watching Russell Wilson last night. He's a combination of Randall Cunningham, Steve Young, Michael Vick, Brett Favre. I'm in awe of him. I've never seen a guy like Fran Tarkenton. I can go back to that. Could you make an argument he's the MVP of this league?
Well, I wrote this morning that, I believe right now the way my ballot would be, and I've got one of the 50 votes in the Associated Press poll, and you only pick one, by the way. You don't have, it's not like the baseball writers, which I don't like at all. I think it's silly to go all or nothing on things like the MVP, but that's the way it is. If I had to give you a ballot, though, right now, my top 3 in order would be 1 Brady, 2 Wilson, 3 Carson Wentz. And, hey, look, before last week, I had Wentz number 1. Why does he go 1 to 3? Because I watched the game last night. And, I'm a recency victim. And I think that is exactly the way that this is going to go. But next week at this time, if Wentz beats the Rams 42-7, in L.A. this week, and Russell Wilson goes to Jacksonville and stumbles, it's going to change. And that's why just because that is the way I see it right now, it doesn't mean that on January 2nd, that's the way I'm going to see it.
Okay, so Gronk has a hit yesterday. I believe he has to be suspended, and I'll just lay it out.
Me too.
Peter, if a little kid in high school went up and punched a big kid, we would almost psychologically root for the little kid to defend himself. But if a big kid hit a little kid, we'd be like, that's bullying. I thought last night you have to consider Gronk's size. He is a 270-pound Hall of Fame level player. This was a defenseless guy. This was, to me, dangerous. I think you have to suspend him. Your thoughts?
Well, in the era that we live in right now, Colin, in the NFL, where there has been so much evidence about CTE, about head trauma, about concussions, and them being bad for the rest of your life, and the NFL spending so much money and taking it so seriously, to watch Rob Gronkowski on this play after Tre'Davious White makes that play, to watch Rob Gronkowski go in with a forearm shiver to the back of his head and concuss Tre'Davious White. There can be no more suspendable offense, at least in my opinion, than what you saw Rob Gronkowski do in Buffalo.
So Tom Brady barks on the sideline. Resume matters to me. The entire Russell Wilson career in Seattle, he's been a team guy. 5 seconds after that Super Bowl interception, he had even temperament. So when Tom barks, my feeling is he's barking for the right reason. It's a team reason. It's not personal vanity. It's not immaturity. There's something that happened on that play call, and Tom is ticked. It didn't bother me. Did it bother you?
No, because Brady does that on the sidelines, and I don't see anything wrong with it. It's not Tom Brady calling attention to himself and saying, I'm right and you're wrong. It's what happens to me in the boardrooms occasionally of Apple or Google. People scream at each other and say, what the blank are we doing? What is our problem here? That is, to me, what you're seeing is creative tension. And it's not embarrassing the quarterback. It's Josh McDaniels saying something to Brady, Brady walking away and deciding, I'm not going to take what Josh McDaniels just said to me. And they've been together. They're a little bit of an old married couple. And I can tell you, knowing both of them pretty well, I can tell you that this happens. And this happens sometimes when they're not on TV. And you know what happens? By the end of the day, they get over it. And these guys both have very high regard for each other. So I don't take it very seriously.
So I'm going to throw this out there. And I was driving to work. I drive to work at like 5:40 in the morning. In L.A., I just don't want to get beat up in the traffic. And I was bouncing around. When I drive to work in the morning, Peter, I'm listening to 15 radio stations. I want to hear what the lead story of the day is. And a radio show, and it's a sports show, and I'd love to give them credit, but I don't know who it was. And it was a really interesting thing. They said if all the coaches were available in free agency and you could hire them, Belichick would go number one. Would Sean McVay go number two with the Rams? Peter, they haven't had very many bad quarters this year. I mean, this kid I didn't even know he was on the radar 2 years ago. What do you make of Rams?
I mean, I love the Rams. I don't know how you can't love them. You saw a guy come into a situation and take some talent, and he and Les Snead added to that talent in the offseason. And after they added to that talent, they coached the living heck out of it. McVay and his staff did. The first day in Rams training camp, I saw Sean McVay. If the practice was 2 hours long, he was with the quarterbacks an hour and 55 minutes on the tiny, tiny minutia of what makes a quarterback really good. And so to me, I think a coach matters so much in football versus a manager in baseball or a coach in the NBA. I'm not too familiar with hockey, but I think a coach matters so much in the NFL, and you're seeing the results of that this year with McVay and the Rams.
Finally, Sam, put up the NFC playoff picture. This is as tight as I remember. Who's going to be that last team that sneaks? I mean, listen, Minnesota's going to win a division. Philadelphia is. I think the Rams are. It feels like the Saints are the best team. Then you got Seattle, Carolina, Atlanta, Detroit, Green Bay, Dallas. Do you think Atlanta clings on to that and holds on? And Carolina, who do you think?
I'll tell you, it's a huge game Thursday night, New Orleans and Atlanta. That is Atlanta's season, in my opinion. Atlanta has to win that game against the Saints to have a good chance to make the playoffs. Because at 7-6 in a division where there's going to be two games, probably by the end of the weekend, you've got a good chance that two teams are going to be 2 games ahead of you. It would be a death knell for them to lose Thursday night. My gut feeling, though, is Seattle has got a huge game in Jacksonville on Sunday, and that's going to be a very, very tough game for them to win. I don't know why. I like Seattle, even going across country, playing in the humidity. But I think that game and the Atlanta-New Orleans game Thursday night are both vital for the two teams' playoff hopes.
Okay, I want you to go to the site I do every Monday, themondaymorningquarterback.com, themmqb.com. Peter King is always great stuff. Thank you.
Thank you, Colin.
Coming up next, remember last Monday I went crazy? I had a LeBron topic.